welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good afternoon. The Jadon Sancho saga continues. We're going to take you through all the updates that have come out today. I should have also removed the plate from my room after having lunch earlier, but there we go. Laziness. Laziness prevails. We're going to speak Jadon Sancho. Two big reports today. One saying Man United have called their interest. The other saying United are going to still move heaven and earth to bring him to Manchester United. Is this Glazer-nomics? Is it transfer poker? We're going to go through that. We're also going to be discussing the continued demise of Liverpool Football Club. On top of that, we're going to be going through the continued demise at Liverpool as well. Not Liverpool, Tottenham. We're joined by Mel. You all know Mel. Brighton and then man there is with us today. We've got Harry on the show. We've also got Aiden as well. And we're joined by another special guest. Hello. What's the matter? She's done a picture. Let me see. Sorry, ladies and gents. Come show me. Come on. Oh, wow. Look at that. You made that. You did that. It's amazing. Is it for me? It's not for me. All right, there you go. Well, I'm going to finish work. I'll see you in a minute. Can I have a kiss, please? Can I have a kiss? No. Ah! Oh, you're tired. Scared by my own flesh and blood. There we go. Apologies for that. It's work from home. It is what it is. Oh, I test here. What's he saying? If I was Sancho, I would rather go to Chelsea over United. They are more ambitious. I kind of get you on that, but you're an Ollie outer and you don't love Manchester United. I test. We know this. There we go. Let's get the guests on. Afternoon, everyone. How are you?
What's happening?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. My office and studio ransacked by my kids. She wanted to show me a picture. You know, you got to tell kids it's really nice. It's just scribble.
As soon as you said, Terry, the demise of Tottenham, your kid pied you. That's what you get.
She did. Well, her granddad's a Spurs fan. I think that's what it is. Mel, how you doing?
I've been better. My club ruining my life as usual, but I'm good.
KJ is now with us as well. Dom will be here very soon, I hope. Also, I hear you on that. Harry, you recovered after your very strange defeat to City yesterday?
Yeah, man, I feel all right. I feel fairly optimistic in a strange way. It's all about Thursday night for us, isn't it? So I didn't really care about yesterday.
Biggest game of the season. It's true. Yesterday was like a training session, like a warm up.
Yeah, we didn't get humiliated, and that was the main thing.
And Aiden, how about yourself, mate? I know you get a lot of attention on social media at the minute. You're followed by a lot of people that don't like you.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I have about probably about 10 or 12 people just follow me, just hate me. But I think it's funny, innit, bro? I'm after the win. I'm happy with the win. Bruno, inevitable as ever, mate. I actually love how much he rattles fans. Because the thing is, I saw a tweet today. I was like, yeah, you'll criticize Bruno, yeah, all these other fans, but you would definitely take him at your club. So yeah, I'm happy, but I'm worried about the football. But
on the haters thing, the bigger you get, you always maintain a 10-15% hate value. So once you start having 10,000 followers, it will be hundreds of people that dislike you. When you get to 10,000, it's just the way it goes because social media is full of proper weirdos. It's just as simple as that. KJ's here as well. How you doing, Cage?
Oh, what's that? I'm muted. Hello.
You all right? Yep, we are live. Oh, here he is. Hello, mate.
That's good. I'm good. I'm feeling fresh. You know what I'm saying? I've got the worst Pro Clubs teammates in the world, but it's okay. Like,
because you play with Lincoln, bro. You play with the mod Lincoln. That's why you play. Listen, no disrespect to Lincoln and Prime. Actually, those guys should be good. They don't go out. They don't go out when lockdown ain't on. Like they should be banging at computer games. They're not. We've got a little competition as well before we jump into the chat today. So we're doing a prize draw this week. Have you seen those? I can't remember the name of them, and I really should. But there's football shirts inside. There's little, they're basically called my mystery football shirt. You get sent a box. You don't know what shirt you're getting. We're going to send it out to 3 lucky people this week. To enter the prize, every day on the 5 o'clock stream, we're going to have an envelope. In the envelope, which you can see is sealed. I've actually signed it. I don't know why I signed it. It's a white balance. Ain't going to let me pick up. You can just about see the signature on there. It's signed and sealed. There are 3 phrases. There are 3 phrases in here that if you super chat and get right, if you're the first person to super chat it and get it right, you'll be entered into the prize draw to win one of these boxes. Obviously, I can't tell you what the phrases are, but you need to super chat them in and tell us what you're thinking and feeling on there. But you enter the prize draw to win one of these wonderful, wonderful boxes. But without any further ado, here we go again. I don't know what that means. I don't, you know what it is? You know what it is? Half the comments, right? On a real level, half the comments that come in here, right? It's the chat room talking to each other. And I never really understand what they're saying. We're getting a bit of echo from someone. Seems to have stopped now. There we go. Dom's now with us as well. Afternoon, Dom.
What's going on, man? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm in a good place. We're going to start off by talking Tottenham because Mel's only here for a limited time. She's taken some time out of a hectic schedule and a busy lifestyle. Rolling with EastEnders stars and stuff like that. I watched on Friday. How are you feel? I want to speak to you about Tottenham because you're kind of supportive of Jose to an extent in terms of you've got Jose here. Jose is what Jose is. Stop moaning about the football. He's here to try and win us trophies. You don't seem like one of the sort of Jose outers that are always crying. I mean, we have one on this channel. She doesn't stop screaming about him. 100%. And we know she don't. But yeah, from your point of view, how do you feel about Tottenham and how do you feel about Jose Mourinho, Mel?
Oh, I feel like, the reason why I'd be supportive of Jose, I feel like, Jose's not going anywhere. We haven't got a choice. As you mentioned, I said, when we hired Jose, we knew what we were getting. We knew we were taking on the media circus, the potentially toxic dressing room and the frustrating football. I just feel like I'm not saying I don't ever want him sacked. He can win something and then go. But what I'm saying is I don't think it makes sense to sack him before he's even been given a chance, to do what he does well, which is win trophies, I know there are a lot of United fans that aren't really keen on Jose, but to me, I see, he won a Europa League with you guys. Jose wins a Europa League with us, and that surpasses a lot of managers. But it's still frustrating. I try not to put too much blame on him. I'm not saying he's flawless, because I still have my problems with him picking certain players, that are brain dead. Dyer, for example. But I feel like the blame's always going to be above any manager we bring in. I was quite happy with the window we had when we signed like 6 or 7 players, Bell, Reguilons, the Højbjergs. But we're playing catch up right now. We still went 2 windows without signing anyone, So I feel like the problem's always going to be above Jose Mourinho, above Pochettino. It's the board. So I don't think much is, going to change until it does in that regard with the board. And nothing will also change until we sort this defence out. So
I hear you on a super chat here that says Mel is one of the level-headed fans. She is spot on with what she is.
Do you know what? I really appreciate that because I just wrote a tweet about how I'm usually level-headed and I got absolutely cooked for being told I'm not level-headed. So thank you for that, Maria.
I mean, I find you, that's why I wanted to get you on. I saw some of your tweets last week and I'm like, there is balance in what you say. You understand what Jose is at the same time as expecting more, but you know that a rebuild is needed. And it's more Klopp's issue here than a Jose one. Like you brought Jose in to do. No, who brings Jose in to do a rebuild? Like
idiots and wallads. You know what I'm saying?
And contractors,
PR, bro,
and house contractors. They bring Jose in to do houses.
It's frustrating because people are trying to say, the blame's more on Jose than the players. But even before Poch left, Poch said something about there's no point moving into a new home and bringing old furniture. So Poch even said himself. We need a rebuild. So that says enough about the players that he's got. So to me, I'm not saying again that Jose is blameless, but it's also, the players. Jose isn't telling players to not be watching their man or to make these bozo gene decisions that this defense has been doing. You've got Premier League experience, the likes of Dyer, Sanchez. They've been with us long enough. So that's not on Jose. That's just them being brain dead. But I've got to blame Jose for picking them. So.
Yeah, Harry, from your point of view, I mean, you're an Arsenal fan. Obviously, I know you're not in the position to gloat at anybody, but there was a lot of stick earlier on in the season when Spurs were top of the league of people saying, see, Arsenal should have gone and got Jose Mourinho. Do you feel that sort of you've dodged a bullet not bringing him in?
Yeah, and no, maybe. I feel like, I didn't want Jose in. At the time, I think we were in the Emery emotion, so we were getting quite desperate. But the thing with Jose is now at his age, it's only going to work at some clubs and it's only going to work with some owners. And I think initially Levy was probably like, oh yeah, let's get him in. He's won loads and he's probably thinking, like he's going to turn our average players into good players. But Jose just doesn't have that ability anymore to nurture players. When he puts an arm around a player, it doesn't feel genuine. It just feels like it's a short-term fix. And the way I look at Dele Alli as an example, like from an outside perspective, Dele Alli is a luxury player in terms of he's almost like a second striker attacking midfield. He's not a creator. He's very much a goal scorer in that final third, a bit like Aaron Ramsey at Arsenal sometimes. And you've got a player there who can get you 10, 15 goals. But because maybe he's not like essentially brown-nosing you, you're going to ostracize him. And then recently I heard an interview of him saying, of using Dele Alli as a reason of not having players fit. And now you want to call back Dele Alli to try and get you out of the mud. So from a player management perspective, I just think it's a really bizarre appointment because the proof is in the pudding. Like we've seen how he's deteriorated. And I mentioned it last night. He had a big PR campaign to rebrand himself as this likable manager. And it probably started off well. You guys were doing quite well. And we were getting a little bit worried about you at the top. And then, one thing after another, it hasn't worked out. And now you see these excuses and you see him defending his own his own coaching abilities. Like what manager does that? What manager does that?
Yeah.
Like what manager says, I'm second to none? Like that's an ego thing, man. Ego thing. And let me say one more thing though as well. Also, I think I hear Spurs talk a lot about their players. Like, you don't have a terrible team. You have a decent enough team there. You also have Harry Kane and Son. All you need is a manager to get everyone to sing off the same hymn sheet and just get everyone functioning. But because this football is anti-football, if you go into a match and one of your first priorities is don't worry about not having the ball, you only succeed doing that for so long because naturally players will just get frustrated with it. And I think that's what's happened now.
Yeah,
anyway, that's it.
I just personally believe Jose Mourinho as a manager, the way he wants to manage the team, the time for that is over. And it's not his fault. I'm not saying it's his fault that world football has gone a certain way in terms of the players and what they're like, their attitudes and how they react to certain things. But what is his fault is failure to adapt. If you don't realize after how many years that this is not working and you refuse it because he's come out and refused to change what he wants to do, then that's his issue. And that's my main thing. Is like, if you're not willing to adapt and change, I can't see that going well for you. And therefore, you're not going to win the trophies, the accolades, the things that you expect as a manager and what you want is because you're not changing to the times that you're in. And it's one of the things that he really needs to adapt and he doesn't want to. So people, sorry, Mel, people in the comments are saying modern footballers are soft. Yeah, they are. So deal with it. You know what I mean? If you're telling them they need to deal with it and grow up and mature, whatever you want to call it, then managers need to deal with it and find a way to get the best out of players.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember at this, through that little period where Jose was jobless and maybe just when we hired him, Jose was talking about, this new philosophy he can't wait to implement. I am yet to see this new philosophy, in all honesty. But I also agree about the player management thing, when you've got players coming out defending Jose, Harry Kane came out and said, Jose doesn't tell us to sit back. You've got Son coming out saying the dressing room's fine kind of thing. They're defending Jose. And then you've got Jose coming out saying my coaching methods are second to none. And basically saying it's not me, it's these lot on the pitch. So, it can't really, it is an ego thing.
That's where it all starts, though, isn't it? That's where it all starts. When you start hearing those things, that's when you know he's starting to lose it. He's starting to lose it.
I think based on what you said there, though, Mel, it just reaffirms, and I don't like to seek confirmation bias in life. I think it's quite a poisonous trait. But my view on Jose is I don't really think his tactics or his philosophy are the biggest problem. It's his attitude, in the sense of as soon as the going gets tough now at a club, he becomes quite a toxic, self-absorbed person, and it has a detrimental effect on the squad. Yeah, and when he had that time away and we watched him talk football as a pundit, he made other pundits look pony. Like the way he explained football, you were like, oh, he's still got it. But then Wenger's doing that. When Wenger is, I've seen him on some shows, I know he does BN Sport. You listen to Wenger talk about football, and it's like, yeah, he still knows it. The problem is knowing it and being able to instruct it and instill it within people. And I sometimes feel like with managers, you could have two coaches tell you the same thing, but the one that has the gravitas and the emotional intelligence to be able to communicate can often get their ideas across better. And I think that's
what Poch had.
Yeah, Poch, when Poch speaks, when Pep speaks, everybody like, oh, that sounds great, doesn't it? You suddenly hear Ollie speak. I love Ollie as a man, but I hear Ollie speak. I start looking at, like, I don't watch his press conference. But I don't let it trigger me though, because I'm just like, he just doesn't have gravitas. But then he probably the kind of person that behind the scenes on a one-to-one level is amazing with you, which is why he doesn't lose dressing rooms. I would take on Ollie's demeanor and attitude over what Jose's become. Jose of old, amazing. When you've got your dressing room crying when you're leaving and calling you daddy, right? That shows how much they love him. You're calling him daddy.
A little bit weird. It's a little bit weird, but yeah, I get it.
It's a little bit weird, but that's how it was. From your point of view, Aiden, you look at the Spurs situation. Do you see it? Can you honestly see it getting better under Jose?
Do you know what? Yeah, like I don't think I can see it getting better. I like you said, I think Jose needs to adapt. I think one thing you can say, say what you want about Pep in terms of his money, but people, when he came to the league, they said, you're not going to be able to play this tiki-taka football. You're not going to be able to change the way the Premier League's played. You're going to be able to do X and Y, and he's done it. You know, you can also look at an analogy in terms of players. Look at Ronaldo. He got to 28, 29, saw, look, I'm going to lose my pace. He adapted his game and became a penalty box striker. Like, of course, he had elements of a left winger, but he was a much more of a poacher. And I feel like when you're a manager like Jose Mourinho, the best, they adapt to change. Do you know what I mean? Like any top athlete, they'll say, you fix the problem before it becomes a problem by looking for little details. And with Jose, he needs to change. You know, gone are the days where you can just sit back most of the game. Like, the game's a lot more fast. It's a lot more technical. And I don't think the way that he plays is really like good in this modern era. And also the thing I think that, like you said, Jose is very toxic. You know, if you're a manager, like I think he's slated Aurier in the past, he slated X and Y player. How do you think it makes them feel? You know, and like I think Terry said, players are soft. They are soft. But don't reject that. Move with the times, adapt, because that's what the best sports people, anyone at the top of any game or level does. They adapt with the times. And I think until Jose does that, you know, complete respect to what he was up there, one of the greats. I loved him back then. But I don't think until he evolves, it's going to go well. But I think he could win a trophy. He could win a Europa League or Carabao Cup. But for like 5-6 year manager, no, he won't be, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Dom looks like he agrees.
You know what, right? I'm going to be completely honest with you. Jose is not going to change. It's too late. He's basically using diesel petrol when the world's gone to sustainable electric. Like he's just, he's in a freaking one of those 3-wheel flicking vans, only fools and horses, thinking he could still make it in the F1. Because if you remember back when Jose first started, he came and he went, you know what? I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to put my arm around Dele Alli and get the best out of him. Don't talk to him anymore. Hasn't got a parking space. When he first came here, he said, oh, it's not about me. It's about the team. He goes back to what he knows. He can't help himself. The Jose of old who rolled his sleeves up and got into Milan and was, come on, let's do this. It's not working anymore. And he tried to change it, but he can't. It's not in him. When you think about a player, and it works the same with a player and a manager, they always revert back to what they know. What is their best position? What is their best tactics? Ancelotti's not going to change his tactics. Pep's not going to change his tactics. No matter where he goes, he's going to play that same philosophy of football. Jose cannot change who he is because it's in him. It's what's made him successful. But the world has gone to 2055 and he's still playing games and thinking he can do it. So for me, with Jose, look, he's so cool. Like in terms of what he's done, I like it. I like him in the adverts. I'm the chosen one. Yeah, my man, Graf, you're doing it right. But for now, Jose's tactics, mate, it's archaic, and I feel for him. But he might get a trophy, but come on, it's done for Jose.
Yeah, he's got to put himself out to stud. There's no doubt about that. Everyone who's tuning in, make sure you're smashing the like button right about now, sharing this stream on your social media platforms. As we said earlier, there's more people tuning in now. We're running a little competition this week to win a secret shirt box. You get it sent out as a shirt. It could be, it's highly likely not to be the team you support. We have no idea when we order it for you. It has memorabilia in there and some other lovely pieces of football. I'd say tat. It's not really tat, is it? I don't know what the right word is. I'm not really selling it too well. I'm not trying to be fair. But yeah, you get a shirt in there. Big up Tans. You can wear a shirt that you don't support. I'm with the time. Adapting to the younger generation. I'm trying to change because I'm an old man. We have three phrases in this envelope. You have to guess the phrase. The phrase could be Trashford. It could be Rashbeck. It could be the Gabonese Vardy. Big up Rants. I'm literally plagiarizing you there. They're sort of football banter phrases that are in here, or words that are used to describe particular players. If you super chat the right word first, the right phrase, you will go into the prize draw at the end of the week. It's a sealed envelope, so it can't be changed. They're all in there. So make sure you get that done right about now. Now, Jadon Sancho. This is what I love about this story. It's the Jadon Sancho element. I love KJ.
So long.
The Jadon Sancho element for me isn't the bit that's important. Sancho's the pawn in this. It's the transfer poker that's going on. This morning, David Ornstein, very respected journalist, deal is pretty much off. United have called their interest. They're happy with the development of Greenwood. Ahmad is there now, blah, blah, blah. You then get reports from the continent this afternoon, pushed by Sports Witness and others. And I'm sure tomorrow you'll get a big paper go with Man United is still heavily focused on bringing Jadon Sancho into the football club. What's your opinions? I want to go to Aidan first on this. Do you think Man United are still looking at Sancho, or do you think Glazonomics are going to kick in and they're going to walk away from a big money signing this summer?
I think they're 100% interested in Sancho. I don't think that's debatable really now. I think the bit there's a bit of discrepancy with is whether they're going to pay the money. I think, to be honest, this is just indicative of every issue we have with the board in this club. Like, if you want Sancho, just pay the money. Just go get him. If you don't want him, move on to another player. This semantics they're playing with going back and forth and back and forth, not only is it embarrassing us in the transfer market, it's embarrassing us to the general community, in the general world. I'm so fed up of this club playing these stupid semantic games with these big clubs. Bayern and clubs like Dortmund, they're not going to want to do business with us in a few years if we keep on doing this. I 100% think we're interested in Sancho, but I think the crux of the issue is the fact that, are they going to pay the money, yes or no? And look, we know that the Glazers don't really care about the club. I mean, Tom Brady won the Super Bowl a minute ago, and all the owners were there. Where were they when we won the UEL? They weren't there, were they? So, to be honest, Sancho, if anything, is just indicative of everything wrong with the transfer policy in this club. We're not paying the money. We're not negotiating properly. We're taking way too long to do it, and we're not backing the manager. He's been on his number one target for so long. Who did we replace Ronaldo with? Valencia. It's been so long since we had a right winger. We are crying out for a right winger. If you put Rashford as a wide striker, you need balance on the right. You need balance. And I 100% think we're interested in it. But it's the stupid games that this board plays. And I'm actually getting fed up with it. I'm getting so fed up with it. And we're literally getting disrespected. Do you think people like Juventus want to do deals with us anymore? Do you think they want to? Maybe if we didn't mess around with Sancho, they would have said, actually, no, we'll pay you a bit more for Pogba. But because we're so disrespected, they're not going to. So they're digging their own hole at the moment. And they're going to see what's going to happen.
Legit. Ed Woodward and Matt Judge have turned Manchester United Football Club into a joke.
Comedy.
In world football.
Comedy.
Absolute
Complete
joke.
comedy.
They see Woodward and Matt Judge come to the room and like, all right, how are we going to pull their pants down this time? Because they'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll do it.
It's ridiculous.
Because they're stupid. These games, I would be all for it if I knew it secured the man. Wait, it don't secure no man. It's just back and forth, just to what?
100%.
Just to pay the money anyway. It makes them sense.
Exactly. And they end up paying more. They did the same with Maguire. It's stupid. And you paid 80 million.
It's
like an idiot.
Exactly. Do you know what they do it for? They do it because from a marketing and budget, from a social media,
yeah, of course,
it makes sense because it keeps Man United's name out there, but they don't understand that it's detrimental. One, because I sort of feel like you probably paid easily 20 million at the time, too much for Maguire, if not more, right?
Yeah.
You making that back for your social media footprint? I don't think so, right?
No.
The problem, they end up paying too much money, or it takes too long to bring these players in, and I think they end up losing more money in the long run. Yeah. But it's just ridiculous now. When I saw the Ornstein report this morning, I'm like, because we're every single time, and I'm going to put this out there now. Every single time, Man United's top four hopes look more secure. So after a win, and we grow the points gap between us and fifth place, the stories will come out that we're calling interest in big players we may not spend big this summer. When we lose games and it looks like we may fall out of it, The United are going to spend big comes out. And there's almost elements of that as well. Because Man United, if we finish second this season, if we go on a decent run towards the end, finish with an extra 20 points compared to last year, solid in the top 4, 2 years running of Champions League money, I don't expect us to make more than one proper signing this summer.
No, we won't. We won't.
And that's the issue.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. Look, we all work in the business world, right? If I mess up my quarter, they're going to be like, okay, is it down to resources? Is it down to we haven't got enough staff? Is the ethos not right? But if it's not broke, they will not fix it. Look, in this January transfer window, I muted the word Sancho. I was done with it. I couldn't, all this 90% Sancho rubbish, I'm not here for it. I want to see him hold up the shirt going, yes, with his stupid accent that was dubbed over the other day. I want to see it. I want to see Sancho playing ball. We know that Sancho was so close to joining us. He went back to Borussia Dortmund and he was playing whack. He was playing whack because his mind was elsewhere. He was thinking about the paycheck. He was thinking about the honour of playing for Manchester United.
He wanted to come back home, bro.
He wanted to put it on, but Woodward, the board, it didn't make sense for them. They want to do this new thing. Oh, we're not going to get taken for mix anymore, Gary. No, that's not us anymore. No, forget that rubbish. They're just being tight when they want to be tight, right? They're trying to get their 85 million a year. And what the fans want, they're trying to make us work for it. They're, oh, come on, give us more money. I'm in one of those situations. I love my club with a passion, right? And I want us to have competition because we've seen the effect when you buy someone. Tellez, look at Shaw. He's flicking going to go back to English team now, right? Look at Cavani's pushed out Martial. He's sulking in the back room. But you see what happens when you bring on some of competition. People saying, oh, no, forget about Sancho. We've got Diallo. Diallo's going to be a baller, but we need someone who can fight, competition, make each other better. That's what we need. So,
and the whole thing, because Greenwood is the one coming through, we're not going to get Sancho. That makes no sense because he's a striker.
Did you see what they said today?
So bad.
Did you see what they? No. Can I just say? Did you see what they said today? They literally said, "This is what I don't get about this club." Yeah. So a few months ago, they came out and said Greenwood is undeniably the best finisher at the club. Greenwood is undeniably the next striker at the club. Everyone said it. Ole came out and said it. A lot of the coaching staff came out and said it. And there was a general consensus that Greenwood is the next number 9. Now Ole's come out and said, oh, yeah, Greenwood could technically play on the right. Greenwood literally released an interview this week when he said that he's a striker with Rio Ferdinand. He said he's a striker. And then also, I have something coming out from MEN, which is a Man United brief outlet. So we know it's coming from Man United saying, oh, yeah, we might not get Sancho because Greenwood is coming through. Greenwood is a number 9. Greenwood is a number 9. We have to get Sancho. Sancho can play in the 10. He can play in left wing. He could play in a certain position. He could probably play false 9. He could play a right wing. He could play a myriad of positions. We have to get Sancho. Sancho is not only a player that will fill a hole that we've had for ages. He is a statement signing that shows our intent as Manchester United Football Club. It means more than Jadon Sancho. It means that we're buying a player because we want to dominate for the next 10 years. That's what it means.
And that's the point. And I can guarantee you this, boys. I can guarantee you this. If it don't happen, I don't care because that means Sancho's coming. But this is what happened. We'll do this whole we don't need Sancho. Towards the end of the transfer window. Oh, actually, maybe we are now interested in Sancho. We do posturing. Oh, maybe we are, maybe we won't. We'd see what we do. By that time, Chelsea have already bought him and his shirt. And by that time, I guarantee you, the day they announced Sancho at Chelsea is the day Woodward will put a bid in for Sancho to Borussia Dortmund because he's an idiot. Absolute clown.
And do you know what's mad about it as well, though? This is one of the things that I've picked up on with Man United is it's almost like Woodward sits in his bedroom at night reading what social media says. Because one of the weird things from some proper strange top reds is, why do we need Sancho? Because we've got it's this notion from fans. If you sign X, it's going to get in the way of Y. I don't like no one that loves the club cares, right? If you could, it's like saying, I love Rashford with a passion. I everything about him as a man and the fact he's at my club. But if someone said Mbappe is coming in and it will mean that Rashford's going to play less games, I don't care, bro.
Did you see City's bench? Did you see City's bench?
Oh
City's bench, Aguero, they had Foden, they had Mendy, they had XY player. It works.
They've always done that. When are we going to become a club that's actually trying to be, we're supposed to be Manchester United. We're supposed to be the freaking gladiator, 300.
The thing is, though, bro, we're not. This is why I keep saying to people, our expectations at some stage, we always have to know. So there's two things we have to do. Our expectations of how we want our club to be run always need to remain high. What we actually expect from the team on the field of play, we have to start readjusting our brains because if our club are not operating in a way to win, and what's going to happen is this. Ollie's going to be left picking up the pieces. Ollie's going to have to stop speaking to the press now saying, oh, he could be brilliant on the left, right hand side. Why? Because Ollie can't come out and say, this club's run by a bunch of numpties and we're going nowhere. One, he'll lose his job and then somebody else comes in. You need someone managing the problems like David Gill and Fergie did. You have to have the problem we've got Ollie managing it, and I don't mean that disrespectfully towards Ollie. He's doing a good job, but it needs someone of greatness to get even more out of this group, which is, you know, and it isn't fair on Ollie, but the way we run things is such a major problem. Harry, from your point of view, though, obviously you look at it as a gunnar. Do you think we're frustrated about nothing?
Mate, honestly, I think you guys, it's almost like, not to be disrespectful, but it's like kids who want a new toy and you don't get it and you're really upset. Firstly, you can't sign anyone now. Secondly, the pandemic has changed the market. So the transfer fees are almost harder to negotiate. So spending 120 million is probably spending like 200 odd million. And thirdly, you are the highest goal scorers in the Premier League. If I was as an Arsenal fan, if I look at Man United, I think where your weak point is centre back and potentially centre mid. So I get that you need a winger, but I'd also argue you need a striker more than you need a Sancho. From an outside perspective, that's what I would say. I mean, you don't have a partner for Maguire. And over the past 3 years, you've signed Wan-Bissaka, Fernandes, Maguire, as well as maybe the year before was who? Matic and Sanchez. So you've invested a lot of money in your team. Like you do spend money, but you guys talk like you don't spend any money.
We don't get first choices. It's the manner in which can I just say it's the manner in which it's spent. This is the issue. Like what I always say is,
why would you get first choices? Why?
Okay, can I just say? Would you rather? If you ask the manager, would you rather 4 players that are your third choice, or would you rather 2 players that are your first choice? They're probably going to say 2 players that are your absolute first choice. It's not necessarily the money spent. You've got to look at the bigger picture. Yes, we spent a lot of money, but our net spend has never been over 100 million. I don't think in 10 years. We're always selling players. Yes, we look what Lukaku's doing right now. If your argument is, okay, we don't get Sancho, that's good. I appreciate that's fine. But go out and get another right winger. Stop dilly-dallying. If the argument is, yes, we haven't got the money, we're being spoiled kids, we can't get Sancho, fine. Go and get Neto. Get it done. Get it done.
Yeah, but you can't sign anyone. You can't sign anyone now.
I know now.
So, Harry, the issue is the way the club is ran. Yes, we spend money, but when for 8 years you've been failing, signing after signing, manager after manager, something needs to change. When your manager says that he wants Grealish or Sancho for over 2 years and you don't get any of them, that's an issue. When you're wanting another centre back to advance your team and you're not getting anything, that is an issue. What you're saying about our squad and our team is correct. Yes, we're the highest scorers in the league. Yes, we are second in the league. But our issue as a Man United fan is we need something more to push us over the line. And our owners, our people who run the club, are not going to do that. If you are saying as an Arsenal fan, you're Manchester United, you should be winning titles, then our owners should be the ones driving us forward into that position by saying to managers, getting top 4 is just not good enough. You need to be winning trophies. By saying, I'll get you your targets, and if you don't deliver, then you have to go. They're not doing that. They are saying, "Oh, do you want X player? Okay, we'll do it in 2 months." And 2 months come, don't get the player. Oh crap!
We didn't sign a starter in summer.
We haven't got a plan. We
didn't sign a starter in summer. Who did we sign that's a starter? Because that's what I mean. It as I say in Wolf of Wall Street, it's Fugazi money. It's fake. It's not proper money. Van der Beek, Telles, and Cavani, that's not proper expenditure. I'd rather not get those 3 and get one good centre back. It's just fake. It's not proper spending. It's stupid. James, why are you it's not proper money. It's choice in the spine, and that's my issue.
I think the spine's a big part for me. The way the Glazers spend money, it deceives fans from the outside that maybe don't study it as closely. It's like I'm starving and I'm thirsty, but you just bought me a Ferrari. It's sort of like we don't need that. I'm thirsty. Like we don't take care of the real issues in front of us. If equivalent of your friend in the club, you know the guy that spends all the money on his new jeans and new shirt, but then he can't buy no one a drink because he spent all his money. Man for the clothes, so you can actually have a good night out, bruv.
But that would be Sancho. Sancho would be the Ferrari. You don't need a Ferrari. You need a full transit to play next to Maguire.
He wouldn't.
Sancho, we need Sancho. I'm being completely honest with you, right? The problem is, right, Ollie's come to this club And normally, when you get a big manager with a philosophy, they come already know what players they want. Already, they know what players they want, what players they're going to get out. We saw it with Pep. He got rid of how many people? 3 keepers. They have a plan. The problem with this, Ollie wants to play this sort of football where he gets the best people on the pitch to figure it out. He said it. That's the Sir Alex Ferguson plan. If he wants to go with this plan, if that's Ollie's plan to see Manchester United be successful, Sancho is one of those players. And he's one of those players that the board loves. They crave. It's like when you go to Disneyland, you get one of those good flicking real Disneyland badged flicking whatever Minnie Mouses, right? It's the genuine article. Not only is he flicking getting all the money in, he's getting the shirts in. He looks pretty. All right, he's a good-looking boy. He's one of those people you can put on a poster. And Ollie's saying basically that I want someone who can go on the pitch and do what they normally do at the best level. That's why I mean Sancho, because at the moment, who have we got who's actually a right winger? Who's actually going to actually dominate that right side?
And he's still young.
And here's my issue as well. We did fun fact, Harry, just to let you know. Ever since Luke Shaw, we did not buy a centre back until Alex Tellers.
A left back.
Ever since a left back, yeah. We never bought another left back.
No,
until Alex Tellers.
He came in 2014, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's
2014.
That's 4 years without buying a new left back.
It's more
longer than that. It's more than that.
6 7 years.
6 years.
Like 6 or 7.
6 years.
We did that.
Got that. There's one spot. Ronaldo left and replaced him with Valencia and Obertan and Owen. You know what I'm saying?
How much have they taken out of the club? I need to check these. They've taken out like over $1 billion.
Just
Van Persie
on KJ
was signed in 2013. We have not had an elite striker since 20.
That's what I'm saying. So all of your energy should be elite striker over Sancho. That's what I don't understand.
You missed the point here. We've not had a proper DM that can play football since Michael Carrick. There's so many holes. You can argue which one's more important: centre back, right wing, striker. Like, you can argue whatever, but there's so many holes in the Manchester United starting 11 to become champions that these people have neglected for over 8 years, and that is the issue.
And one of the biggest issues with it as well, why it's taking so long to fix the squad, is because we don't have a club plan.
That's it.
LVG starts signing players that he wants. Sometimes they're his second, third, and fourth choices.
Yep.
And then you get rid of him, and then Jose wants a whole new group of people. So half of Jose's job was clearing out people. Like, one of the good things that Ollie's done, and we're nearly there now, is a lot of the players that we all consider deadwood or not good enough have pretty much gone. But that's taken Ollie here for over 2 years.
It's taken
not even
still there. And it's Phil Jones doing it.
And
the Glazers are still giving people new contracts. That's the problem. Like, people like Jones and stuff are still there. It's ridiculous.
And in terms of how much they've taken out the club, if you look at it as dividends and interest payments, it's over 1.5 billion pounds from the club.
Stupid amounts of money.
It's 1.5 billion pounds has gone out. Everyone who's tuning in, do me a big favor right now and smash that like button for us here at the Football Terrace. Really important that you get that done. Remember, we're running a little bit of a competition today where no one's guessed them right yet. Get your super chats in. We've got 3 phrases in here. They're kind of banterous. They're kind of social media phrases relating to football. If you super chat one and get it right, you go into the prize draw to win a My Secret shirt box, which is absolutely amazing. So get them in right about now. We're going to talk Man United again a little bit later. We're going to touch on Anthony Martial. Should he be dropped? Should he be sold? A lot of people on social media talking about that. Myself and Aiden had I thought a really good exchange last night. If you 100%, in each side, that sometimes the problem is with social media, everybody thinks you're fighting every 5 minutes. When you just
we're not. Like that's what I don't get.
100%. I want to speak Arsenal. Big week, as Harry said earlier on in the stream, for Arsenal. Biggest week of their season. Huge crunch game against Benfica in the Europa League, which, listen, as Man United, this is a massive competition. It's a huge competition, right? It's massive. It's gargantuan. I mean, definitely better because Man United and Arsenal in their 2 biggest fan bases in England. Happy days. Do you know what I mean? But Ari, from your point of view, how are you feeling gearing up to this game? Are you nervous? Are you worried?
Yeah, I am really nervous because sometimes like a narrative starts, and after we lost to Wolves, you start to feel like, is it going to start to go against us a little bit? And even now we're playing okay. It just seems that we can't take what we deserve from the game. We can't generate enough chances, or we can't finish those chances that we generate. And there's all these little things that are happening which make me think, Thursday could easily be 60 minutes of Benfica sitting behind the ball, and then David Luiz does something silly, or we give away a penalty, and then it's over, and we don't have the the fight or the belief to overcome that, because the wounds of the defeats are still there, that you can still see the scars. So it's going to be really, really hard. If we get an early goal, then obviously wonderful, but the longer it goes 0-0, and also when you play against players like Otamendi and Vertonghen, even though they're not great, there's always these stories to be written. There's always these little players who have an extra motivation to make it happen, and sometimes those stories come true. So yeah, honestly, I'm really, really scared. I believe in Arteta. I like our team. I like a lot of our players, but I'm really worried about Thursday, because if we lose, it's just going to be hell. The Arteta out circus is going to be hell.
I don't know if hell's the right word. I don't know if hell's the right word. Dom, when you look at Arsenal this week, we know it's a big week for them. It's all geared up around this game. Do you think they're going to have enough to get past Benfica? And if they don't, what's the fallout going to be like?
Oh, the fallout will be terrible. Everybody, when you go to the freaking arcade and you've got to put coins down and try and get it off the edge. Now that little thing, you have done that. That's where Arteta is. You're trying to get it down the right hole to get that little last coin. People want him to fail. You know what, right? I remember growing up watching Arsenal, right? And the football was just lovely. When you just see the pass and move. Arsenal's like that team anymore. They're trying to find their identity, but they keep coming up against these brick walls that they can't seem to get across. Partey was supposed to be the saviour. I wanted him so hard. I wanted him because he is such a good player. But the thing about it, with Arsenal, the identity's not really there anymore. I don't know if you're a tiki-taka team. You're probably not. I don't know if you're a direct team. I don't know what you're trying to be. And it reminds me of a team that I know. I don't know if they're called Manchester United, but anyway, you don't know what you're doing anymore. And that's the problem. You don't know what team's going to turn up, just like United. You don't know how you're going to play. Who's going to be the star man? Is Aubameyang going to turn up? Who knows? But the problem with Benfica, they've got a good history and they fight and they're determined. They're not going to sulk. They're not going to hide. They're going to go for it and they want it. I just don't know if Arteta's instilled that never die attitude in Arsenal, because that's what you need. Because at the end of the day, it's a game of football. The people that want it the most really tend to end up winning.
Yeah, I hear you on that. KJ, I mean, I know you've been sort of bantering that they're back and everything the last few.
They are.
Do you feel like more people could turn against Arteta if he goes out of this game?
Oh, it's gonna be very peak for Arteta and the Arsenal team if they go out on Thursday. The fan base will be an absolute meltdown. You'll see certain people on the Arteta outside licking their lips and be like, yes, this is my opportunity to try and put the final nail in. Personally, Arteta needs this. He needs this Europa League run. I don't think they'll win it, but he needs this run to keep something alive for this Arsenal team, because if they go out on Thursday, it's just a long season ahead where it's like games where do they really matter? Do they actually believe they can make it into the top 6, let alone top 4 again? So they have to win. They have no choice but to win and go through next round, because otherwise this season you can see Arteta getting sacked at the end of the season, because you can't go backwards.
The problem as well, KJ, is that Arsenal can't go out and buy big dogs anymore. They can't do it. Like it's always like a loan signing or this or that, or you're paying like over 16 years for Pepe or something, like flicking direct debit. It's not.
Yeah, but we just signed Partey. We just signed Partey, who's an elite level player.
I think they can.
That's not. Yeah, no, one second.
They can buy the players.
Yeah, we can, and Arteta has the ability to negotiate those deals and convince players that the project is.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, no, he does.
No, he has got
by the way, that might be one of the phrases in that envelope. Arteta Paul, they're the kind of things in there. You see,
he's got the ability to convince players that the project can work. But the problem is, the longer the project is unsuccessful, then that putting ability just diminishes. So in terms of where we go from here, and in terms of the fan base, what the fan base needs to realize is, one, if your expectations are to win a Europa League, and then we don't win the Europa League, that doesn't always mean sack a manager. Like you can't support a team like that way. And then secondly, like you hinted to earlier, Terry, about when you change managers every year, then obviously you have players that new manager doesn't fancy. You have to try to get rid of them. So, okay, cool. We bring in another manager. A new manager doesn't fancy players. And then what? He doesn't make top 4. Do you want to sack him as well? And then you want to compare us to David Moyes? All right, well, do you want David Moyes tomorrow? You don't. Who are you going to get? The managers that we think we can get would never come to us in a million years. Why would Allegri come to Arsenal? Why would you come to Arsenal? Honestly, why? We've got an incredibly toxic fan base who will literally just switch at a flick of a light. We've got a group of players who are some are good and some aren't essentially good enough. Why would we attract a top manager when also that manager knows that there won't be unlimited amount of funds? So I don't understand why Arsenal fans
Arsenal and United are the same thing. They're the same thing.
They're very similar. They're very similar.
Except from United have more money. Like that. Literally, I think that's the only thing that separates us.
Of course, we shouldn't be 10th. I know that. And if you want to compare Emery to Arteta, yeah, Arteta isn't doing any better. But what does that mean? Does it mean you want to get Emery back? Or are you unhappy at the way Emery was sacked? What are you fighting for? If you're just fighting for Arteta out, cool, keep saying it. But you'll be saying it for a long time because we're not going to win the league for a long time. Not because our expectations have lowered, because it's where we are as a club. That's just the truth and matter of it. You know, you don't like Bellerin, you don't like Holding, you don't like Xhaka. Those players are playing for us, so nothing's going to change. If you don't like them and you think they're dead, then what do you expect? The only way it's going to change is...
And how many managers are actually really out there that are available? Like good quality managers.
There's not many. There's a lot of like Fugazi managers. There's some that are all right. Like people that I've heard someone say flipping Gasperini or Deschamps. Like no, like the only two good managers. Do you know what the thing is? Yeah, I think that to the extent Poch was a combination of the two, but what people want nowadays you have to have a man manager. You can't just be a tactician like Mourinho was. It's part of the reason why he's failing now. You have to be a man manager. Players are soft. They're not what they once were. You need to be a good man manager. Yeah, I think that what a club like Arsenal Man United need is a manager of the combination of Nagelsmann and Allegri. They've got the winning mentality that Allegri has. He knows how to win titles. He knows how to win stuff. But then you've also got the fluidity tactically in terms of formations that Nagelsmann has. But that's the problem. It's like if you put Nagelsmann in, yeah, he plays good football, but is he going to win? Put Allegri in, is it not short term? And it's like you said, like Arteta out, but for what? And it's like that's the thing with me. It's like I'm Ole out, but I'm not Ole out in the sense of just get rid of him, because who are we going to bring in? Like if we had a plan right now, to say, look, hypothetically, Poch is available, like I don't know, like someone very good, and we're going to bring XY player, I'd say, yeah, get rid of Ole. But get rid of Ole and do what? And that's the problem. And it's the same thing with Arteta. Get rid of Arteta and do what? What, to Allegri and just do the same thing over and over?
Tottenham fans,
it's going to mess up your club. That's what
Tottenham
it's going to do.
fans, right, are crying out for a manager who understands the players, plays good football. They just freaking got rid of him in Pochettino.
Yeah, they did exactly.
And you know what the issue is as well? In world football, the really good managers are taken up with the best clubs. So your Peps, your Klopps, your Ancelottis, your Mourinho. They're already at some next club, and they're also the most experienced ones are getting on. So Jose and Ancelotti are getting on a bit. You got the two big boys, and they're in their prime, and then all you've got is just a plethora of these young, up and coming managers who no one knows where on earth they will land on the side of the fence.
Yeah.
You got the Marco Rose, the Nagelsmanns, the Nagelsmanns, the Gasper.
Eddie Howe, mate. You know what I mean?
That's really failed, man.
And some of them, do you know what's interesting, right? And again, when you're a bit, I don't mean this disrespectfully to any young viewers or any young panelists. You know, I mean, the thing is, you know, it's funny. I remember being 18, 19, 20, and you kind of you have experiences, but you don't see they haven't repeated on you yet. So I remember when Martin O'Neill was the next great manager. I remember when Owen Coyle was going to replace Arsene Wenger. and we laugh now because of where these managers have ended up.
Yeah.
Every 3 or 4 years, you'll get your Nagelsmanns, your Roses, etc., and everyone's like, that's the guy we want. Who was the guy a couple of years ago? Jadon a few years ago was another one.
Jadon.
Someone else out there whose name everybody wanted, and you hear no one talk about him now.
Don't say Kenny Dalglish, because that guy weren't right. Man.
No, it was.
Was it?
I can't quite remember who it was. But interestingly, it even happens within seasons. 3 months ago, everyone was like, what about a bit of old Ralph from Southampton?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
He sits on the bounce, and it's
why you need to wait until the end of the season.
That man been talking about Graham Potter last season. You don't talk about
Graham
Potter.
My gosh.
The problem that happens is with those kind of managers is I understand they have a philosophy and they have a style of play that they want to adhere to. My only issue with those managers is their ability to adapt when their team isn't good enough to outplay their opponents in front of them. So Real Sociedad, I've had all these plaudits. I've read. I haven't like read lots this year, but I've seen bits and pieces on social media. People was, oh wow, look what they're doing in La Liga. And I watched them play against us. And before watching them play us, I read a few bits and pieces.
So
but
naive.
the overall feeling was they try to outplay everyone they come up against. Teams like that, they've got a ceiling. Eventually, you try and dig a hole out against Man United, and you find out you don't have a big enough shovel. And it's those kind of managers frustrate me because Man United are not running away, and Arsenal are not running away, where we can go toe to toe with everybody. Where Wenger really started to fail in his last 4 or 5 years is he carried on trying to play teams that were better than him off the park and invariably got battered. He didn't have the I don't have the personnel. I've got the style. I don't have the quality of defenders, midfielders, and attackers like I used to go toe to toe. And at the end of the day, if you're in the ring against a guy who can punch hard and has a cast iron jaw, and you don't have that cast iron jaw, you can't go toe to toe. You've got to box smart, and that's my concern with some of these young, sort of futuristic.
Bielsa's a good example of that.
Bielsa annoys me. Not him, the manager. The way people talk. Oh, he's a great manager. No, he's good, but he ain't great. That's why he manages where he is. People say
man got nominated. Man got nominated. He's technically the 3rd best manager in the world because he got nominated for the best manager in the world.
Yeah.
How I do not.
You know what we keep doing though? You know what we keep doing? Because we're like going out this merry-go-round of managers, and everybody's like, "Oh, jump on, it'll be a good time." We start getting like feverish, and we start going, "Oh, but imagine Graham Potter with a better team." Or imagine Bielsa with a better team. We start thinking, oh, there'll be Eddie Howe with a better team. It doesn't work like that. It's not just about putting people on the pitch and going, yeah, you'll smash it. Because now I've got this. I'm going to do the same passing philosophy that Bournemouth did when they were playing well for a few games. And I'm going to put that on Manchester United or Arsenal or all this. It doesn't work like that. It's so much. There's so many more elements to football than just
the same thing about players. Same thing about players, right? So you look at defenders when you're at a top club, an elite club. You do a lot of one-on-one defending because invariably your team attacks, which means you're always susceptible to counter. The amount of times we play smaller teams at United and you think, why have the opponents always got loads of time and space and we don't? Because we've got because there's time and space. So it's one of the reasons why we need someone with pace next to Maguire, because when you're all too slow, you've got no one for recovery runs. But the reason Van Dijk's the best in the world is that his one-on-one defending has rarely seen him explode. You watch someone like a Dunk, who's pretty good. But for me, we have no idea how good he is. Well, we do actually, because every now and when they're a goal down and then suddenly they start attacking and they get counter-attacked to hell by Man United's, by Liverpool's, by City's, they get stretched apart. Their one-on-one defending isn't good enough.
And that's why I have an issue with our recruitment or analysis or whatever you want to call it, because look, Harry Maguire, good centre-back, yes, in a system that required him to have another bank of 4 in front of him, and also another centre back partner in a back 2 other centre back partners. Why would we look at it if we are going for this high line expansive football? Harry Maguire is the last name on the list. The man can't run.
That's what Terry said earlier, though. There's no planning from the people, and like even with the back 3 thing you said. Think about Bailly came from a back 3, Lindelof came from a back 3, Maguire came from a back 3. We have De Gea who can't play out the back and Ollie wants to play out the back. Wan-Bissaka isn't technically competent enough to play out the back and want to play out the back. Shaw's the only person that can probably play out the back well. We've got so many round pegs in square holes. Same thing, you can look at the fact that the DMs, we haven't got a proper DM. And then Ole, and this is the problem, you need players that fit the role that you want to play them in the team. Like I say, players rarely are one singular position. You rarely get players that are one position and nothing else. So what you do is you adapt the system around them to some extent, but you need a spine. We don't have a spine. That's the problem. Who is the spine? And the reason is, if you think about the spine, Pogba should be the CM spine, but because you can have a DM, because the board is too incompetent to buy a DM, we haven't even got a CM. We haven't got a striker. We haven't got a CM. We haven't got a centre-back. And we haven't got a good consistent.
The problem is, they bought Maguire to be that spine. That was their intention.
Who goes out and thinks, Maguire's going to be that person?
Exactly. But
why would you not buy De Ligt? Why would you not buy De Ligt? You are Man United.
Mate, De Ligt didn't want us, mate. De Ligt didn't want us, mate. He was like,
no. What's funny about that? The report that came out about De Ligt to United is apparently we said he was too overweight. And we got Maguire.
Let me get up and leave, bro. Let me get up and leave. I'm done.
I'm not saying Maguire's fat.
I get that. It's just planning.
It's heavy.
it's just planning. And the problem with the way we operate, and there's a super chat question I'm going to go to after this, is the way they operate. And Arsenal do the same thing as well with their buys. Badly run clubs always fail in the end because they don't make their badly run. They don't make the right decision.
Yeah.
Everything in the world that's badly run has problems. There's no, even like me and KJ were talking earlier about like people that have always got problems in their lives. It's like, yeah, it's them. It's because they don't run their lives properly. Like, your friend, your friend that never has money, always got this problem. There's always this drama. It's like, man, I get people have dramas in some people. It's like like EastEnders level drama. Like no one goes. This character goes through in a year. Like I don't think there's a human that can say. Like you can watch EastEnders, and in a year, someone will have their daughter murdered. They'll get an illness. They'll crash their car. They'll lose their business, start a business, get married and divorced all in 12 months. And then at Christmas, they're having a party. And I'm like, wow. Some people actually live their lives like that, and it's a madness. We've got a super chat question here before we move on. I want to go Harry first on this. Outside of Klopp, Pep, Mourinho, and Don Carlo, who is the best of the rest managers in world football?
Well, take Mourinho out of that. Why have you put Mourinho in there?
Chris, why did you do?
I think I was going to say, I was going to say Conte is, I think, one example of something that I think you can show. I think it's one of the best man-to-manager pairings we've seen in recent years, Lukaku and Conte. Like, I always had my doubts with Lukaku. I said, look, he can get the goals, but does he get the goal? Do you know what I mean? Like, does he get the goal? And he's proven us wrong. Like, in the weekend when he scored that incredible left foot goal, it was brilliant. And I think, like, Conte 100% is up there. He's got people like Perisic playing at wing back. He's got a fluid system where everyone knows their role. He's got players like Barella, which is clearly helped. And he's even bringing in little people. He's got Vidal, he's got Darmian. He's making these players play well. It's indicative of... Bro, it's indicative of a good manager and a good system. If you can pay people like Vidal, pay people like Young, pay people like Darmian, and make them look good. So I think Conte, especially if you win Serie A this season, which I think the same way Leicester, I think, are learning from last season, and they're not being so naive. I think if Inter have learned from last season, he wins the Serie A 100%.
Just on Lukaku, do you reckon Lukaku could come in the Premier League and do what he's doing at Serie A?
No.
I think he'd be better than he was at United. I think he was better than he was at, but because of Conte and the system and how the relationship you see he has with him, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same. Yeah, I think the relationship is so key.
I think it'll be a little bit like Jose and is it Milito? Like after Jose left, I don't remember hearing his name ever again. It's like
Milito did. Yeah.
It's like he disappeared. And I get I don't watch Italian football, but there's a couple of years when he was playing under Jose, he was everywhere because Inter was doing well, I suppose. Yeah, sorry, you were going to say something, Dom?
Yeah, Rafael Benitez. I think he's so underrated. He's so underrated. He was never really given a full chance. Never really got the backing. I think technically and from like a strategic point of view, Rafael Benitez is one of the most experienced managers. And I think he was wasted. I would love to see him. I think he's gone to China now. I think he's playing.
No, he left. He left. He had a disagreement.
He left.
That's ridiculous. I think he's been wasted, and I would love to see him in the Premier League with a top team and see what he can do because I think he's got the right temperament as well and the right man management, and he knows how to play football too.
Yeah, this is wild. This is gonna be wild. Simeone obviously is up there as well. Did they say Simeone? Simeone.
Oh yes, Simeone. Well, can we get Simeone? Yes, Simeone.
But you know what?
Arteta.
No. You know who's on the cusp? He's almost there. I think Brendan Rodgers is almost there.
I was going to say that.
Oh, that's.
But I think he falls into that category. I think he falls into that category of people like Poch, people like Nagelsmann. And the thing is, you can use this analogy with a player. A lot of players have ability, and a lot of players will have good seasons and bits. But it's whether you can do it consistently. It's like, for example, players like Martial. I know he's got literally insane ability, but has he got that little bit to become consistent? I think the thing is, if you look at Rodgers, if you look at people, is Rodgers going to learn from this season? If he learns from last season, this season, and gets top 4, like it looks like they will do, I can say that yes, they're getting there. But until they pass that test, it doesn't matter the football they play. They have to win trophies as a manager. You have to.
It's also about pressure.
That's what's a cusp.
Yeah, he's on the cusp. Yeah,
it's
also about it's about pressure.
Oh, and Hansi Flick as well.
It's about pressure and expectation, though. So I know about Lukaku. People are saying he did it at Everton, but then when he went to Man United, he did it, but he didn't really do it. And now he's gone to Inter in a different style of football, which is where he's doing it. So the same as Rodgers, like he's doing great at Leicester, but the expectation is different. The fans are more grateful for what they have. So when they lose, there's a lot more perspective, and he can also convince players in that team who I know a few of them have won the Premier League, but they don't look at themselves as like, oh, we're all. We're going to win the league every year. So they can all buy into his philosophy. But then when you go to a bigger club and you've got a team full of winners, can Brendan Rodgers convince, those elite players that his tactics are right? So sometimes it's hard to gauge, isn't it?
Yeah, I think as well, listen, Conte's up there. I think Rodgers is in that echelon below that haven't won anything major yet. So it's hard to put them in. Simeone's won the Ligas. Conte has won the Premier League. I think them two are there. Hansi Flick, of course, man, won a damn treble. Like he goes into greatness level. I think with the Italian league thing is this, and I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm basing this on what I've heard people that have played in the league say. It's slower paced, and I think that's why sort of your Vicky Moses and your older Ashley Youngs are going over there and really playing well. It's why Chris Smalling is Mike Smalling over there. I do think it's an easier league generally week in, week out to play in. Maybe not when the top 2 or 3 teams play each other. You get a slightly higher, more intense game. And I'm not saying, look, Lukaku has delivered here and done things, but that pressure element is also key, because what I would love to now see a Diego Simeone do is go and take over I know Ati are a big club, but I'm talking take over a gargantuan club, a gigantic,
huge one.
If you lose 2 games on the bounce, it's a crisis. I always remember. I remember my house decorator when I was a kid, and we loved this guy. Was a West Ham fan. I was talking to him about. I was only young, and he said, he said something about why do you support Man United. I was telling him, I said, I don't like it. We lose. People banter me. He was like, that's what's good about being a West Ham fan. He says we lose 5 games on the bounce, even 10 games. No one really cares. He says if you lose 2 games on the bounce, it's a crisis, and that's stuck when I was 8 years old. And it's always been true. And I think that's what I'd love to see. Diego. I like Diego Simeone. I love the way he manages Conte as well. But the one we're all missing, it's Ollie. No, it's not Ollie.
This guy, man. I swear
what's crazy about football chat as well, right? I had it earlier on. What we were talking about in another stream. Oh, no, that's what it is. I tweeted out something about. I don't know what I did. It wasn't me. It was the admin that runs a Football Terrace Twitter account. He put out the screenshot because, of course, Poch and PSG lost last night. And he just wrote the caption, holy moly. And it was like the comment was, is this your way of are you defending Ollie again publicly by having a go at Poch? I'm like, not everything I say is to defend Ollie. Like, I criticize Ollie with the best of them. Like, I literally say, I don't think he's good enough to win us a league title. Do I think we have no system? Do I think we haven't improved or anything? Any crazy comment around no improvement? Forget the system bit, subjective. Have we improved as a team in this last year? To say no to that is a lie. So it's like, but you say that we've improved. It's like, oh my God, you're an Ollie simp. It's like, how you?
You're second in the league.
You got to realize though, it's extreme. The thing is, you got to realize it's extremes. It's extremes. Like we as human beings, we just want to be like, we want to. And everyone has it. They want to be right. And if it's an extreme, you could be reactionary. It's like, oh my God, he is a visionary. He knows what he's on about. People just want to talk about extremes. And it's like people on Twitter, like Twitter is literally everything bad about the human race. Yeah. You put like to package it and just go, bleh, it will be on Twitter. That, honestly,
most of the tweets are from Aiden, by the way.
Aiden's, but you're an interesting one on Twitter, Aiden, because on Twitter, you and your Twitter personality and your actual human being, I find them very different. Like when I read your tweets, it makes my heart a little sad. I just feel like everything's just like it's either like, and I'm not in a horrible way. It's like negative, and then it's like, oh, why is everyone hating him? And then you speak to Aiden, and he's like smiling and happy. But I do think it's that. And interesting with social media. We put different things on different platforms. Like I barely post on my Facebook. All I ever put on Facebook is pictures of me and my kids. So everything on there is pleasant. Football, like Twitter for me is the same thing. It's like 50-50. Although what I've done in the last month has been very helpful and healthy for me. People that I find, barring Aiden, that I find negative or that tweet and retweet things that I'm just not interested in. So if they bring politics onto my timeline, if they bring art and crafts onto my timeline, I just mute it all. And do you know what?
Yeah.
I'm really nice. Like with Aiden, I'm only bantering Aiden. Aiden brings good football chat and you can talk. What I like about Aiden, I always big you up for this, is I can talk to you and it's a conversation. People jump in thinking it's a fight, but that's my issue with Twitter.
Always.
Everything's a fight, and I refrain from getting into like Twitter conversations because it's all the that jump into it, and I get it's public, so they're allowed to. Yeah. It's like all I've done is question one element of what someone said. Why you?
I don't know why people think that, but again, it's like it's. But it's like the thing is, I think I don't know why people are expected to have a proper understanding of someone from their social media presence. Like you said, like, oh, you know, this Aiden is when you see him on Twitter, I'm very like I guess organized what I say. I'm quite direct. But why would you expect to know me anyway off Twitter? It's like people say, like, with all due respect, like, I'm not trying to be, but like, why would you expect to know me off Twitter? You don't know me. You're looking at some words. So why would you know me anyway? It's this assumption that people have that you know someone because you've seen a few words. And it's like, I think it's just ridiculous that now people cannot separate their footballing opinion with the opinion of the person. I think it's actually ridiculous. Like loads of people, they'll DM me saying, "Oh, I hate you," and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, whatever." And they'll be like, "Oh, I thought you were a prick." And I'll be like, "Bro, just because I said I don't like someone, you think I'm a dickhead?" That's something to wrong with you.
It's when you say you like someone. It's when you say you like someone, you get the ones that don't like them. Like, how can you say that? They're terrible.
Yeah, it's my opinion. It's nothing to do with you.
You know what you got to do as well, though? Like, Twitter's one of those arenas, right, where sometimes people just want to trigger you, and you just got to rise above it. You just got to rise above it. I put out a tweet about Martial, the most nice swimming in the middle lane.
Yeah, I saw that.
Nice park when you got Bay Park in there, nice in there, perfect in the middle, lovely. And people were like, "Oh my gosh, how can you defend Martial?" I was like, wait a minute. He's our player. We go in for every single player any given Tuesday. We went in for Pogba. We went in for Rashford. Now it's Martial's turn. When are we going to start lifting up players? And just, you know what I mean? Like, just
do it. Exactly. You know what's interesting about that as well? And this is my problem with it all. Is like Martial's. It kind of brings us on very, very nicely to the Martial like conversation. For me, he's in awful form and has been now for the majority of this season. He's had a few good performances, some good goals, but he's been in poor form. I feel like when everybody's fit, he deserves to be on the bench. I want him to do better. I want him to improve. Cavani's really highlighted some flaws in his game for me, which I didn't notice before in terms of movement in the box. There was a prime example yesterday where Dan James has the ball in the right position and whips across him, and he doesn't make that run early enough or at all towards the near post. And I'm only really seeing that because Cavani's doing it, and it's one of those things. But that's where it kind of ends for me. But in terms of people are like, got to be dropped, got to be sold, waster.
Everyone was saying he's the best 9 we've had like a year ago. Mate. It's ridiculous. And there's nothing wrong with changing.
Brilliant a year ago. It was last, and this is
23 goals, all comps. 23.
I don't even blame the system for his situations. I don't deep it that much because it was the same system and manager last year that yielded his greatest ever goal scoring season. Exactly. Only thing wrong, and I looked at this earlier because I was just trying to bring some light to it. Forget how people view the game. He's having as many shots per game this season as he was having last season, around 2.1 per game shots on goal. The difference is he had nearly a 30% conversion rate last year, and he has a 12% conversion rate this season. In fact, his shooting accuracy is at 61%. So he's just hitting the ball too close to the bloody goalkeeper. People are deep in it too much. Like there is the movement element. I do feel like we could bring a striker in that has better movement. They might be able to generate an extra shot, maybe 2 shots per game because of their movement. But in terms of Martial, the biggest issue is his conversion rate has gone down. But people try to then you get into these walls of, but it's it's because Rashford's too greedy, Bruno don't pass enough, it's because of Dan, it's because of this. It's like it's just not holding the ball up well, and he ain't finishing his dinner. My
issue is like, okay, so what? Every time a player goes into bad form now, we have to sell them.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. What is this?
I don't get it. Like I remember when Pogba went through bad form and said his comments, and I was saying I said that what he said was wrong and Varela was wrong, but I didn't like slam him. I didn't call him a violent. I didn't say all these things. And then I have people coming for me saying, "Why are you protecting Pogba?" I'm like,
it's ridiculous.
You know what I mean? I'm now like there's times where I say Martial, I don't want to. I don't think I don't even say I don't want him to be sold. I just say I don't think he will be sold. And some people are like, no, has to be sold. Get rid. Elite striker.
I need to.
And I'm just like, So what? So and Fred's getting it now. Like Fred is in terrible form right now, and I'm seeing it as well. Fred needs to get gone. I'm like, okay, listen, you can have your box of players that you think they're not good enough for the club. We need to move them on. But from moment every game they play, it's seldom. It's like, it's tiring. Stop.
It's crazy. People change their opinion.
I need to get some on my chest because honestly, every time something's going wrong with Manchester United, I mean the club, the results aren't working. We have to blame one player and say, get him out. It is honestly though. If I'm my wife, we make each other teas. We like a good tea. If I don't make it right, what's she going to kick me out? It's that reactionary. Like we're in a situation, right? If you look at the stats, I don't always like looking at stats, but sometimes if you've got a point, it can back it up nicely. It's like a little bit of ice on the cake, right? If you look at it, Cavani scored 6 goals and Martial scored 4 in roughly the same amount of games. That's it. Cavani's not scoring every single game, lighting up trees, but no one's coming for him. Look, I get that Martial is not running as much. It looks like he sulks and he needs to make things happen by himself. But how the whole team is not playing well. That's what people don't understand. If the whole team were playing amazing and it was just Martial, I'd be like, you know what? This ain't right. But look where we are. Look at the games we play. He needs to try better. He needs to go for it. But I'll tell you one thing, KJ, right? Good players who scored 23 goals last season don't turn bad overnight. It's impossible. You can't just.
I was saying that last night after stream. I said I would want to know why. I want to know why has this happened? Because it's not like because if he has stagnated, he would be scoring 23 goals in a season. So he's gone backwards. I just want to know why. You know what I mean? I would love to have a conversation with him or his trainer and be like, what's happening in his game?
It's all confidence, isn't it? It's all confidence.
People don't want to look at that. But that's the problem. Like people don't want to look at that. People just want a quick answer, and they want to be able to get the happiness that it gets when they're proven right. And it's like I saw someone yesterday. I honestly, like, I was laughing so much. Like, obviously Martial's got racially abused and called whatever words and insults and called everything you can think of. And someone said, oh yeah, why has Martial looked upset over the last few weeks? I'm like, well, I wonder why he has. Maybe because he's been abused and called every insult a black person can be called under the sun on social media.
And his wife as well.
Yeah, but you don't think about that, do you? Because you're too bothered with being right straight away. And it's this stupid, and it's on Twitter. It's mainly on Twitter. It's on Twitter because people can bring up an AVI and they can just ban the account. Yeah,
and
they got no
Man United scapegoating
in
the Man United fan base has been rife for years. We've seen it, and at some point, I'm pretty sure we all have, as football fans, we've all been
of course we have
part of it as well. But I'm trying my best not to do that.
Yeah,
we've seen Fellaini, Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, Ashley Young. Who else has been like scapegoated for doing stuff? Like we see now, Martial's the new scapegoat. Last season it was Pogba. The season before, and every year there's this new player that gets scapegoated for everything wrong with the team. And it's like once they're gone, we'll be fine, and everything is good. Fellaini left, we still haven't won the title.
Still crap, yeah, exactly.
And in general, when you analyze a player, right, what people need to realize is if you don't like someone without you knowing it or not, you can't be objective because your opinion is already blinded. So for example, if a player you don't like makes a bad pass, it's like, it's a shit pass. If a player that we like Jack Wilshere makes a bad pass, it's like, unlucky, keep going. And it's that. And you take that to Twitter.
And that's what sorry, Harry, and that's what Rashford gets. See, Rashford scored 18 goals this season. Yesterday night, for me, troubled me massively. We saw Rashford nuts a geezer, twine up a defender, and bury a shot in the bottom corner. Any other inside forward does that, and the football universe goes, wow, what a goal. Top Reds, fuck's sake, another goal with individual brilliance. Fuck you, Rashford. You're angry that your player just scored a great goal. And then when it comes to Martial, he's not scoring. It's, fuck's sake, Martial, you're not scoring goals. What do you want? Do you want players to score goals or do you want them to miss goals? And on Cavani, real quickly, statistically, he's actually in the Premier League this year. He's had less shots, 2 per game, not 2.1. So it's bang on the same per 90 minutes played as Martial. His conversion rate's at 33%, but his shooting accuracy is actually at 55%.
You know why? Because he loves a scuff shot every game. Hey, watch Cavani.
Cavani misses. No, can I just say? Cavani, I was watching a show the other day. Cavani's missed over 15 big chances in the league every single season for the last 10 years.
Oh, he's always been like that.
That's it. That's it.
He's always been like that. But the
get,
problem is, with Man United, he's had people like PSG. He's had people like Di Maria and Neymar supplying.
Put it on a plate.
Like,
Put it on a plate.
but that's the thing. Like, I think the majority of things in life are not like straight and clear cut. When you're talking about key things like this, they have multiple layers, they have multiple reasons, they have multiple variables, and that's what people need to do. But the thing is, people don't want to have a nuanced debate. They don't want to debate, they want to be right. And that's the issue. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be right at times, but people don't want to debate. Like me and Terry, we disagree on a lot of things, but I know Terry's a nice guy. He knows I'm a nice guy. We don't dislike each other because we disagree. But a lot of people nowadays do.
Exactly. Like, and I've seen opinions today on social which are just mad. And as I say, for it's just, but people don't need to go to the extremity. Martial's having a bad season. The irony about his lack of running is interesting because Gary Neville's spoken about it for years. His lack of progressive running off the shoulder of players is there to be seen. Cavani's highlight, he's never tracked. One thing about Cavani I love is that Cavani chases loose balls. He runs about. He puts himself about. Now, but Martial's never done that. That's what Martial is. So it isn't what he does. And so if Ollie looks at it and goes, I need every player to do what Cavani's doing, then cool. Then maybe you look to move Anthony Martial on. But it isn't a flaw in the character of Anthony Martial.
No, it's not. Exactly.
Marcus Rashford is not a creative inside forward. He's a goal scoring inside forward. If we need a creator, I don't get angry. We used to get eye test used to come on here and moan. Oh, I would love Rashford just if he was a creative player. But he isn't. He's a goal scorer. No one used to look at Ruud van Nistelrooy and be like, I know he's a great striker, but where's the creativity?
That's saying Messi can't defend. It's like saying Messi's not slide tackling, so he's not very good, is he? Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's horses for courses. And the problem, Man United's biggest problem, and the same as I think Arsenal's problem has been, and you're now seeing it at Tottenham as their squad's fading away, it's square pegs in round holes or players that are simply not good enough at what they do. And then you have a balance problem. And I just think the overreaction from people is an absolute madness. And it looks like I've been doing some research into Bruno Fernandes today, just looking at how big his impact has been at Man United, and found out that he is already the 9th highest scoring, number 9 on the list, scoring midfielder in Manchester United's history inside a year, right? It's amazing. Just a little bit of news. Anybody care to guess? I'll give all 4 of you a guess. Who's number 8 on the list? All-time midfielder Man United.
Stop. Oh, probably not.
All-time sister, Jesus.
Scholes must be higher, right?
No, Scholes is high.
No, Scholes has got 33 and 150.
Wait. Is Cantona classed as a midfielder?
No, he's an attacker. He's an attacker. Number 8 on the list. And it just goes to that no one's looking at these things, but they should be. Number 8, I'll tell you, number 8 on the list is Paul Pogba.
Oh, really?
In Man United's history, only 7 more. And do you know who's number 6 on the list? One matter. Number 6. Only 5 more players in United's history. But I mean, obviously, Bruno had done it in a year, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? But I was looking at it, and the Paul Pogba thing stood out to me, right? Look at this comment here. Liverpool as a United fan show. We're actually a generics fan channel, but I'll let you off there, mate. I feel like I just want Thiago Alcantara to sit on the bench. He is slowing us down. I don't see him doing anything but pass the ball sideways. It's an interesting one.
No disrespect Thiago, man.
He's very good. He's just struggling with the pace of the Premier League. He'll come to terms with it.
Yeah, they probably want to kick him out now. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah,
no, he's got to go. As I was saying, but I was looking at the Bruno stuff, and then I saw Pogba there, and I'm like, see, because Man United are not winning things, major things, we don't notice how good Paul Pogba has been because
he's so good.
So you lose good performance. The only reason we're noticing Bruno is what he's doing from an outputs point of view is abnormal. You're noticing it's you know what I mean? Sometimes people don't notice a tumor if it's on the inside of their body, right? If you sticking out your head like this, it's like, it's fucking, I saw it. Do you know what I mean? It's there. And that's what he's doing. This geezer is so protruded, if that makes so big. But I was looking at it for that reason. I'm like, Pogba's the 8th highest goal scorer, like midfielder in the history of this
and
he's done it in like, and if he keeps on, say he plays as many games for us as, say he played another, if he continues to score at the rate that he does, and he plays another 4 or 5 seasons, he'd be in the top 5 ever, right?
Yeah, exactly, right.
People say he's bad, but the issue you have is that a lot of people that hate on Pogba on Bruno is because they feel like he's getting more love than Paul Pogba, and it annoys them. And it's sort of like, you do realize something. I'll say something that some may find controversial. I'm not talking technical ability. Bruno Fernandes has been a better signing for his output and his overall performances than I think Pogba has. But that doesn't mean I'm saying Pogba's been crap. That's the issue. It's all or nothing with everybody. Like, for me, I think Eric Cantona was a better signing than Robin Van Persie. But Robin Van Persie was still an amazing signing. It doesn't mean you're bad because someone's in front of you. You know what I said about everyone wanting to be right? It's I want to be right about everything, and I want my favorite player to be seen as number one. It's why are you so precious about that? What is wrong?
Who doesn't rate Bruno?
People don't like people.
There's a lot of people. I think recent people don't rate Bruno because there's one section of fans. There's different.
Well, your own not your own fans, not Man United fans, obviously.
Yeah.
There is. I was going to say the problem is because there's two things. There's on the one side of the fan base, you have people that prefer output and they sort of prefer. It's hard to explain, but they just prefer output. Let's just say output in general. There's another side that don't really give a damn about output and they want the eye test and they want goals in finals. In terms of the eye test, Bruno probably maybe he doesn't pass it like Pogba does. Maybe he doesn't have the goal in the final that Pogba does. But they completely ignore all the goals that Bruno's got, and that's the issue. You have Bruno FC that think Bruno is technically better than everyone else, and he's the best player in the world, and he's better than everyone else, and nobody can compete with him. And then you have Pogba FC, and I love Pogba, but I know people do this. They think Bruno's trash, no goals in finals, doesn't pass the eye test. There's no middle ground. Just accept that Pogba, from a technical level, is a generational midfielder, one of the best we've ever seen, I think. But then Bruno, he's a ridiculous, good output player. He gets mental numbers. He's one of the best signings we've ever made. You can think that at the same time.
You know what it is, though, this is entertainment, right? This is an entertainment. We're always going to have left field and right field. We're never going to be swimming in that middle lane because it's an emotional game. I could bring out all the stats about Martial, all the stats about Bruno, that Bruno's I call Bruno an effective player. He is he can get an assist without even knowing he's done an assist. He's been doing it all season, right? He's effective. But people need this. They need to draw from this. So I could do a Martial, get the longest freaking dissertation about Martial, and still people wouldn't believe it because they want him gone. They want him gone. It's just the emotional aspect that draws out.
I know it's the maddest thing of all of this. The maddest thing of all this, I don't get. The same players we're on the sides for, Pogba, Bruno, Martial, Rashford, I guarantee you're going to see one day Diallo, Greenwood, because people are mad. They all like each other because they're friends.
Yeah, they all do, bro. That's the mad thing. Yeah.
Pogba and Bruno, they love each other. They are so happy that they're in the same team. It's mad. Martial and Rashford are two of the closest friends in the team. They do everything together.
You know what's funny?
Their goal record is basically similar. It's ridiculous. Like,
do you know what's crazy about it as well, KJ? If all these Martial FCs, Pogba FCs, Bruno FCs, idiots stood in front of their favorite player and told them their opinions, their favorite player would. If a Pogba fanboy went up to him and said, "You know, Bruno, I know he scores more." Shit, bro, you're so much better than him. Pogba would look you up and down like you're a fool and go, get out of my face. He wouldn't respect that. So even the people you love would think you're a knob. Imagine that. The person you're trying to stand after would literally thinks you're a dickhead. And for me, it's crazy. Like, you can think Bruno is better than Pogba. That doesn't mean you think Pogba's bad. My favorite player growing up was David Beckham. He was my favorite. I also thought that Paul Scholes was better than him. So I knew that my favorite player wasn't the best in the team. And it was easy for me to expect. For me, there's a phrase that I've seen go around a lot recently, and this way it is for me. It's what is it called? It's a small dick mentality. You just got something wrong with you in your head that I've got to be right. My person's got to come out on top. What's so inadequate in your life that you're like, what's the word I'm looking for? That you're not accommodating for. There's a word for it. Compensating for. What are you compensating for in your opinions? We've got Bruno Fernandes that's got more goal contributions and appearances in the Premier League. If you're a Man United fan and you are not buzzing about that, you're a fool. We've got Rashford, who 2 years ago only scored 13 goals. We screamed for him to get more. He scored 22. This season, he's on track to score about 27, 28. The progression you beg for is there. You're still moaning. Bruno Fernandes is 8 goals away from breaking a 62-year record held by Sir Bobby Charlton of being the highest goal-scoring midfielder in a singular season at Manchester United if he hits 30 goals, which he's on track to hit 33, which would match what he did when he was at at Portugal. He's on track with 6 more goals to beat Frank Lampard's total goals in a season in a singular season for a Premier League midfielder. And you're moaning about it.
And that's for Paul Pogba to be more influential in games. And then Paul Pogba is scoring winners, getting assists, setting up goals. Oh yeah, but you know what he said about when Viola said what he said? Yeah, Pogba needs to leave. It's like, shut up.
I do think. Can I just say something? That I do agree with what you guys are saying. You know, I've just said I agree. I do think there is a slight problem with if people come with a completely fine opinion. Like, for example, I think Bruno is one of the best signings we've ever made. Is it wrong for me to say I think he needs to simplify his game? Like versus Sociedad, I thought that was one of the best games he's had over. A lot of people, and I don't like this. I don't like it. They attempt to morally invalidate someone's argument without actually arguing it, because then they don't need to do any work. They'd say, oh yeah, if someone says, yeah, I really like Bruno, but I think he needs to simplify his game. Fake Man United fan, don't know what you're on about. If someone tries to criticize Rashford, oh yeah, I think Rashford needs to up his IQ. Fake Man United fan, don't know what you're on about. And this manner in which they morally invalidate someone's argument, make them seem like there's something wrong with their character, so they don't have to actually listen to what they're saying, is wrong. And I get.
Aiden, before you finish, and you know what's mad? People who, I'm not saying you doing this, but people do in general. The people who complain about when it comes to Bruno and Rashford, you got another sect who do the same when it comes to Pogba and Martial and all that. And this is what I mean. The divide in this fan base over everything is very, very.
And you know what? You're so right. I nearly called you Jota then. That's one other comment about you. I completely agree. Like I completely see that Rashford makes bad decisions. When I try to debate it with people, I get so much abuse when I just say, "Can you show me the evidence?" The one thing I don't like about the eye test argument is it becomes subjective. It's a fugazi. It's I see the mistakes. Can you show me? Yeah, but I just see them. I can't. If you don't see them, it's down to you. That ain't an argument either. That's you not being able to quantify it, right? And that's because a lot of people plagiarize. They hear a YouTuber or a big Twitter
and they believe it,
and they regurgitate it without doing the research themselves. And you a bit like the geezer in a pub that's like, "Oh, do you hear it's COVID ain't real, it's 5G. Tell me about it."
Yeah, but you wouldn't know, bro. I'm on a higher level, bro.
And he goes, "Yeah, oh mate, I know all about it." And then talk to me. If you can't articulate, I always think this: if you can't give a simplistic answer about something you're talking about, it means you don't understand it. Does that make sense? Like if you can't make a 5-year-old understand you about on a particular subject matter, you don't know what you're talking about. And that's what I find. So I'm cool for people to say Rashford's a bad decision maker. I just want people to quantify it and show me. And I'm not talking about 2 or 3. Show me how it's impacting his game. Show me how he's doing it more than others. Because again, everyone makes bad decisions. What you're suggesting is that he's making them
it's not Rashford though himself. It's the principle. It's just the principle, I guess I'm saying. Because I think on the one hand, you have fans that do not appreciate Bruno enough, and they're so Pogba FC they don't know what they're on about, and people that don't appreciate Rashford enough, and they're so Martial FC they don't know what they're on about. But you also have people that appreciate those so much that anytime you say anything about them, it's like you've said that they're trash players. So I think
I agree.
You need to have balance.
No, you know, it's like De Gea as well, isn't it? You know, it's like De Gea. Like I've seen loads of people go, "Why are people criticizing De Gea? He's done this for 8 years." Blah blah. No one is above criticism. Like no one. You're trying to see. I said so many times, right? I see. For me, Rashford relationship. It's like I'm his dad. When you bring up a son, you want to see the best from them. You want to get the best from them and say, "You're doing well, but can you go to here?" If you get a post-it note and you say, "Jump up as high as you can, stick it on that wall." Do it second time, I bet you'll do it higher. That's what I want to see from Rashford, because I can see he can become world class if he tweaks his game. But people don't want to hear that. They're just going, no.
Sorry, Dom. Do you know what it comes down to? It's like people don't want to read it or they don't want to listen. So I've been a YouTuber a long time. The amount of times I do a video and people comment in the comment section about what I've said in the opening 20 seconds and go, "Well, what about these three?" I'm like, it's be the next minute in the video, bruv. Like, watch the whole video, digest this, maybe watch it twice, listen, reflect, then comment. If I owned YouTube, I'd make a rule that people would have to watch a minimum of 75% of your video before the comment section opens up. Just because half the time they wouldn't respond with anything because they go, that all made sense because you brought balance to it. And that's the point. I don't think Rashford's beyond reproach. It's when people say trash footballer, crap, shit, bad, funny. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, you're just vile. That is what
it's a balance. It's a balance.
When every time we do something, there's a new excuse. So it's like I put those hoax red tweets out the other day, and a lot of people go, you saying that's me? You don't say those things, do you? No, then I ain't talking about you bellend. Like, calm yourself down. It's like whatever Rashford does, there's either an excuse like, the goalie was crap or the wind was helping him or whatever. And then when the irony is this, I see a lot of people, the system is why Martial's not scoring. Fine. But you're the same person that you never use that excuse as to why Harry Maguire has a bad game or Rashford has
23 goals last year, bro. So you can't really use that argument now.
Yeah, also, and that's the thing with it. It's just about having a balanced conversation. But you're absolutely right, Aiden. People don't want a balanced conversation. They want to shut down your opinion without having it. That's life in general now. They use a buzzword or two to stop a conversation from happening. That's why we haven't done it tonight's show. That's why we invariably open up the phone lines for the viewers to call in and have their say. Anyone can say whatever they want. Sometimes it's weird. We get people turn up with their nipples out and all sorts. But at the end of the day, that is part of what we have. He is banned. He is banned now. If he really, really is. But gents, hang on. Nick, laugh. He says, how's Harry, the Arsenal fan? He alive? No, Harry's here.
No. Just
I'm not going anywhere, man.
Oh, just dropped him back home after she looked after him on Midnight Vibes last night. You know what I'm saying?
There's a comment here that says saying Rashford's crap because he's not as good as Mbappe is like I'm leaving my girlfriend because she's not as attractive as. It's very true. Like I did a video about 5 years ago on socials. One of the biggest ones I ever did in terms of when I used to do a lot of the I don't know what with pictures and stuff, and it was basically called "You're either Mbappe or shit" is what I titled it. It's before you used to get demonetized using swear words, and it was just basically pulling on the fact that all these youngsters were coming through around the world, and I just saw this notion of, oh, tell me about your youngster, blah 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 blah. Is he as good as Mbappe? No.
Oh shit.
It was like. I just don't. But people like that with music. Kevin Hart talks about this on a great podcast he did with Joe Rogan, where he's like, people just like to be negative. They just like to put things down. They never want an argument. There's never any nuance. There's never any balance to what they do. It's what we're part of. But I hope Arsenal go out this week, Harry. I hope they go out. Rounding up that conversation nicely. I hope that Arsenal go out. It'd be fun.
No comment.
Listen, everybody that's tuned in today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Dom, Aiden, Harry, KJ, of course, thank you for coming on to the show. No one guessed the buzzword, so I'm going to save them for tomorrow. It saves me using more paper up, to be fair. You can get your super chats in to guess what's inside here. They're quite obvious as well if you watch the channel a lot. I've made the first day very easy for you. We're back later on this evening with more news for you. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Smash the like button. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.